always want to say morning, Dad. Good afternoon. Happy end of Easter now. I hope all of you had a very pleasant long weekend. A nice break, get lots and lots of chocolates. So that's what you do at Easter, so that's fine. And ready to just do a little bit of physical exercise maybe. So as always, just remember that I can't see you. You're just doing this class at your own risk, so you need to listen to your own bodies. If you do have any injuries at all, just make sure you stay safe. Don't do anything that you feel you shouldn't be doing. Anything that causes you any discomfort or pain, just stop immediately. Otherwise, we can get going. So we are going to do our standing warm up first of all. So just setting ourselves up, just making sure that your heels are underneath your bony parts of your hips, those hip bones. Just look down, make sure you can see your feet. Hopefully you can see your feet, but make sure your feet are facing forwards. And then look forwards, lengthen your neck, lengthen your spine, just lift up through the top of your head, just grow a little bit taller, just feel your chest rise, the front of your shoulders open, and then we just soften the ribs down towards the hips. Make sure your knees are slightly soft, so are your thighs, and your pelvis is in neutral, so try not to tip the tailbone up or tuck it under, just find that gentle position in between. And then engage your core. So just drawing the abdominals in or lifting up your pelvic floor. So from there, let's breathe in as we just float the left arm up towards the ceiling and breathe out, release the arm down by your sides. Breathe in through your nose as you lift your right arm up and lower it back down. But this time as you breathe in, take your left arm up, but take it on a diagonal and follow the hand with your eyes as you reach your arms up. And then follow the arm, bring it back down, and then look forwards. And then breathing in, let's lift the right arm up on that diagonal and slowly float it back down again. This time, when you take the left arm up, take it up towards them, just slightly behind you. Just give a little bit of twist in your spine then. And bring the arm back up and down by your side. And then your right arm, take it on the diagonal and slightly behind. So you're still looking at your hand. And then bring the arm forwards and back down. And this time we're going to breathe in. Your left arm, sweep it down towards the floor, across the midline of the body. Just follow the arm with your eyes, take it wide to the side, up towards the ceiling, and then wide to the left-hand side and bring it down by your side. Then your right arm, sweep it down across the midline of the body towards the left-hand side, up towards the ceiling. You're looking up now, take it wide to the right and bring it back down. One more each time. Left arm, sweep it down across to the side, up towards the ceiling, wide to the other side and down. And then your right arm down across, wide to the side, up and down. Lift both of your arms up towards the ceiling. Breathe in as you breathe out. Bend your left elbow and draw it down towards the floor. Breathing in, reach back up again. And then the left elbow, right elbow even. So just alternating, the elbows pulling down to get that little stretch in your sideways. Now look up as you pull the elbow down. Just keep looking up towards the ceiling. And just feel that stretch in your sideways. And last time with your right elbow, look up, now look forwards and reach your arms wide to the side. Drop your shoulders down into your back pockets, your shoulder blades even. Breathe in. As you breathe out, turn your head to the left and reach your left fingertips towards the left side wall. And breathing in, look forwards, straighten your spine, and then go the other way, look to the right. Reach your fingertips to the right, but keep the weight even in both of your feet. And look forward, straighten your spine. Reach to the left, turn your head to the left. So looking along your fingertips and straightening up. And last time like that, reaching to the right. And coming back up. Now just let your arms float down by your sides. Breathe in as you breathe out. We're going to reach the left fingertips towards the floor. Reach your right elbow up towards the ceiling. And straighten up, both of the arms by your sides. Right fingertips reach down and your left elbow reaches up. So a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit more of a side bend there. Try and keep your pelvis level. So just feel like you're trying to pull your ribs away from your hips without lifting the hip. And one more each way. So finishing off with your right arm reaching down, lift the elbow nice and high if you can, and then slowly bring the arm down by your sides. From there, let's lift the arms both up towards the ceiling and lift your heels off the floor, coming into your standing balance. And then lower your arms and lower your heels. Nice big deep in breath, just fill your lungs up with air. Remember your lateral breathing. Try and breathe into the sides and the back of the rib cage. Breathing out, slowly lower your arms and lower your heels. Rising up, so feeling that work in the calves as you lift your heels off the floor and lower down. Let's just do one more. Can you just lift your heels a little bit further away from the floor? Keeping the shoulders away from you, standing really nice and tall. And then lower your heels, lower your arms. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's go into our squat. Sit back and down as you reach your arms forward. Nice and deep in that squat if you can. Push into your heels, light into your toes as you straighten your legs. And go again. Keep the spine and the leg long. Your sit bones are going back towards the wall and the floor behind you. Your knees, try not to let your knees come too far over your toes. Keeping the knees hip width apart. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper, reach your arms a little bit higher, and then come back up. Don't worry if you can't, just keep it small if you need to. Last time like this, so just really getting our legs, glutes nice and warm. We've done our upper body. And let's now sit back and down only as far as you feel you can. Only if you feel stable. Lift your heels off the floor. Pull the abdomen in a little bit more to stabilize. On your next exhale, keeping the heels off the floor. Straighten your legs. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Keep the heels off the floor as you reach your arms wide to the side. Slowly bring your arms down and release your heels. Take a shoulder roll there just to release up around your shoulders. Make sure your feet are still hip distance apart when you look down. Strong your abdomen to stabilize again. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to lift the left leg off the floor, reaching your arms forward so they're in line with your shoulders, reaching through your fingertips and your toes. And then we're going to slide the leg behind the midline of the body as you pull your arms behind you. Hover the foot off the floor. Lengthen the leg, reach it forwards and lift it. Arms forward, arms go behind as the leg goes behind. Keep the leg nice and long if you can. Resist the floor, or just slide your toes along the floor if you need a little bit more stability. Last time, arms are going back, the leg is going behind. If you can, still resisting the floor, hover your left leg underneath your hip. Turn your palms in to face your thighs. Breathe in as you breathe out. Can you lift the leg wide to the side and reach your arms wide to the side? And bring it to a hover, just two more like that. So we're really strong in that standing leg. And last time. And again, slide the foot along the floor. Don't lift it if you're really wobbly. And bring the foot down, arms down. Put your left foot on the floor. Shake out your right leg. Reset, shoulders back and down, tummy's pulled in. Use your core to stabilize. That really helps. And then so forwards and backwards first of all. So breathe in. As you breathe out, the arms reach forward as the leg lengthens and lifts away from the floor. The leg glides behind. So opening up your hip as the arms reach behind. And then forward, so flexing at the hip, lifting the leg. And extending the hip as the leg goes behind. Try not to lean forwards or backwards. Just move through your shoulder joint and your hip. Last time, arms back, leg behind, without touching down if you can. By all means, put your foot on the floor if you need to. Hover your right foot off the floor, breathe in. As you breathe out, arms wide to the side, leg goes wide to the side. Bring the leg down, just about hover if you can, arms by your sides. Just two more like that. So we're really challenging our balance and really strong in that standing leg as well. And last time like that. Leg comes down, foot comes underneath your hip. Shake out your left leg. So, standing Pilates there for you. Good for our legs, our strength of our legs and mobility through our upper body there as well. So we are now going to come down onto our hands and knees. So we're going to stand with our hips underneath, hips over our heels, should I say. Just soften again, find your neutral standing posture, arms down by your sides, put your hands on your thighs if you need a bit of support, otherwise just let your arms hang. On your exhale, just allow your chin to fall towards the chest and then slowly come down, so round your shoulders, your upper back, your mid back. Make sure the top of your head is pointing towards the floor, bend your knees a lot if you need to, slowly coming down, get that lovely stretch in the back of the legs, bend the knees, let's come straight out onto the mat into tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. So, if you need to, you can come down onto your forearms if you've got issues with your wrists, otherwise wrists under shoulders, or you might just want to make fists of your hands, and that again will take a little bit of pressure off your wrists. So we're just going to do some cat and cow. So we've mobilised a lot of the body now, but we haven't really mobilised the spine yet, except in that roll down. So breathe in. As you breathe out, let's just tuck the tailbone under, scoot the navel in towards the spine. Let's slowly arch the back and come into a lovely cat stretch, chin towards the chest, not tuck right in. And as you breathe in, we're going to tip the sit bones up towards the ceiling, dip your spine towards the floor, slide your shoulder blades back and down, lift your chest and look forwards. And go again the other way, tailbone tucks, arching your back. Just feel that movement flow like a wave all the way up your spine. Last of all, your chin tucks in slightly. And then go the other way. So don't tuck the chin in so close to your chest that you lose that alignment. Nice and smooth. So just always remembering that, let's go again, our neck is an extension of our spine. So it just needs to follow that line. So last time, that extension of our spine into our cow pose, and then from there we're going to come onto our fronts now. So walk your hands towards the top end of the mat, bend your elbows. If you're not on your forearms already, come onto your forearms, walk your knees back, then we can sink the hips and then the chest down onto the floor. So I'm going to give you options. I'm going to give you a level 1 and a level 2. So you stick with level 1 if you want to. So we're just going to work the upper spine now, or mid upper spine. Stack your hands and rest your forehead lightly on the backs of your hands. And have your legs hip distance apart with the heels facing the ceiling. So the front of your feet should be flat on the floor now. So 10 toenails on the floor. Shoulder blades, draw them back and down. Pull the tummy in and just gently press your pubic bone down into the mat. Just feel your lower back opening, so our lower back's protected here. And then our first option is from here just to breathe in. As you breathe out, just now pressing into your arms or your hands, just float your head and your chest away from the floor, just lengthening through the top of the head. Feel that extension in your upper spine. Feel the length and the work in your back muscles to lift and slowly come back down. And so stay with this if you want to. So we're really working the shoulders, the back, and of course we're still working the core because that should still be engaged. So just one more like that. We'll stay with this throughout if this is enough for you today. Lift, lengthen, and lower back down. The next option, we're going to do a V to W, so at a reach and a pull. So slide your hands from underneath your forehead, take your arms wide overhead, so your arms are in a V shape overhead, so your arms are wider than your shoulders. Palms face in, thumbs to ceiling, but just make sure that your shoulder blades are still drawn down towards the base of the spine. Your head's just hovering off the mat. Again, strong your abdominals here. As you breathe in, just float your arms away from the floor, just an inch or so. And as you breathe out, we're going to bend the elbows and draw the elbows towards the side of the rib cage as you lift your chest away from the floor. So your arms are in a W shape now. Breathing in, extend your arms long overhead in a V shape as you allow your chest and your head just hovers away from the mat. And go again, exhaling, pulling the elbows in. So your forearms are wider than your elbows. You might have about a 45-degree angle between your elbows there. Inhale, lower your chest and reach your arms overhead in that V shape. Reach for your fingertips. And then let's go again, pull the elbows in. Lift and lengthen. So you really feel the length through the top of your head. Lower back down, extend the arms along overhead again. And let's keep going with that. Or just go back to having your hands underneath your forehead if it becomes too much. So it's a lot more challenging. We've got the weight of the arms reaching overhead and pulling in for your back muscles to lift and lengthen. So let's do just 2 more like that if you can. Breathe in, nice big in-breath. Slowly breathing out. And one more last time, extending the arms along. And then lifting. Lift your chest. And then slowly release down. From there, just take your legs a little bit wider than your hips. Put your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up onto your hands and knees. Keep your knees wide. Take your feet together. And now pull your sit bones back towards your heels. Tuck your tailbone under a little bit there. So that is your extended child's pose. So you get a really nice stretch there into your lower back and your chest and your shoulders. Just taking a breath or two there. Don't worry if you can't get your sit bones on your heels. You may only be here, that's fine, as long as you feel that stretch. So from there, we're going to move on to seated. So we're going to bring our legs towards the top end of the mat now. We're doing a few seated exercises. So you're half roll back. So if you do have any back issues, you can always put a fairly flattish cushion or a folded up towel just behind your lower back there if you feel you need a little bit of support. Otherwise, let's just start off seated with our heels, our knees, and our hip bones and sit bones in like legs hip distance apart. In other words, sit really nice and tall, engage your core. So you've got that same neutral posture that we found for our torso when we were standing. From there, just reach your arms forward. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just tuck your tailbone under, roll off your pelvis, so off your sit bones, just roll onto your lower back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just maintaining that C curve in your spine. Just reach your arms forward and bring your chest towards your thighs. Breathe in as you breathe out, again keeping the C curve at the moment. So you can stay with this. This is your level 1. You could even just put your hands behind your thighs if you wanted even a little bit more support. And just do your forward and backwards movement with your hands, giving that little bit of support. Let's do one more like that, and you might just want to stay with this. Your navel is glued to your spine here, so this is core strength. So your next option, let's come and sit really nice and tall at the top now. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck and roll just to the back of your hips, just rolling back, tucking right under. Stay here as you breathe in. Just reach your arms up towards the ceiling, in line with your ears if you can. And then as you breathe out, bring your arms forward again and come back up. When your shoulders are over your hips, this time we're going to restack our spines and sit nice and tall. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck and roll. Keep your shoulders wide across your back. Going back, then breathing in, lift up without lifting your shoulders up towards your ears. Then breathing out, we're going to bring the arms forward as we come back up and then restack at the top. One more like that. Breathe in to prepare. Let's go back on your exhale. Stay back, float your arms nice and smoothly up towards the ceiling. Then they reach forwards again as we come back up. And sit nice and tall. Next option, let's challenge a little bit more if you feel you can. Straighten your legs, toes to ceiling. So we're sitting really nice and tall with the shoulders over your hips. You're bending the knees if you need to, if you're tight in your quads, your hip flexors of your lower back. If you can, keep your legs straight with your toes pointing to the ceiling. And then this time, reach your arms forward. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's do the same again. Tuck and roll just to the lower back. And then breathe in. Reach your arms up. And as you breathe out, same as before, come back up and restack the spine. So you can stay with this. Let's just do one more like that. So a little bit more challenging with your legs lengthened away. Breathe in. So bend the knees back if you need to, coming back up. So your next option, I'm going to challenge you a little bit now. So let's breathe in, let's breathe out, let's tuck and roll back. Can you stay here Breathe in. As you breathe it, just open your arms wide to the side. Breathing out, breathing in, pull them back in. And breathing out, reach your arms wide to the side, and breathing in, pulling them back in. And go again. Really feel that in your abdominals now. Try not to push your tummy outwards, pull it in. Come up if you need to. Keep the neck nice and long. Can you do one more? Breathing out, reach wide to the sides, pull the arms back in, you're breathing in, and as you breathe out, we're going to come all the way up. Relax your feet, float your arms up towards the ceiling, and just gently fold over. That forward fold, just let your arms fall towards your legs or the floor. Just allow your body just to relax in that folded over position there. So quite a lot of work in our core there. So now we're going to lie down. So slide your feet in. So you can keep your hands and your feet on the floor if you want to, and just lower yourself down. You can go onto your side and come down. If you can, lift your feet off the floor, lift your hands off the floor. Just pop your hands on top of your knees and very slowly with control, lay yourselves down onto the mat, head and shoulders down, and then put your feet on the floor. And find your neutral alignment. So here I haven't got one, but if you want to put your head support under your head, your Pilates block, or folded up towel cushion underneath your head, just pop it there now. Otherwise, just make sure the back of your head's resting on the floor so the back of the neck's nice and open. Going to start off, just have the arms light on the mat down by our side. So first exercise, fairly basic, but really good practice for our pelvic stability and our core control as well. So really important we find that neutral position, first of all, for our pelvis. So just make sure that the lower back is lengthened on the floor. So with your arms down by your sides, maybe just tuck your tailbone under, first of all, flatten your lower back onto the mat. Then let's arch the back, just the lower back, arch it away from the floor, and then just find that position in between. So that should be more or less neutral. Most of us, or many of us should I say, will have a natural curve underneath your back. You might not have, depending on your physiology, but the important thing is your lower back is lengthened on the mat and it stays there. So we just keep our arms light on the mat down by our sides. We're just going to do some heel slides. So breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to slide the left heel along the floor, just softly pointing your toes. Try and extend the leg fully if you can, as long as your lower back doesn't arch away from the floor. Breathe in. As you breathe out, use your abdominals again. Pull the leg back in, slide your heel back in until your feet are in alignment. Then the right heel. So lengthen the right leg along the mat, straighten the leg fully, only if you feel you can, so your toes are reaching towards the bottom end of the mat. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slide the heel back in again. And then go again. Left heel slides, point your toes. And nothing else should have moved. All we're doing is we're straightening the leg and then drawing it back in again. So even this level, it feels quite challenging on this deep lower abdominal muscles. Let's just do one more like that, which you can stay with if you want to. I'm just going to add in a little bit of upper body work to this. So last time with your right leg, lengthen, slide it back in. So stay with that as your option. Otherwise, just interlace your fingers, lift your head off the floor, cradle the back of your head in your hands, rest your head back down on the mat, lift your elbows away from the floor so they're just a little bit higher than the level of your ears. Again, focus on that core strength here. And then we're going to work the upper core as well as your options. So now breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to lift the head and shoulders off the mat as you slide your left heel along the floor. So you're curling up, looking forwards, lengthening the left leg. Breathe in as you hold that curl up, hold that tension there. And as you breathe out, again, just slide the heel back in and lower your head and shoulders back down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slide your right heel along the floor, extend the leg away. Peel your head and shoulders off the mat. Keep space in between your chin and your chest. Breathe in as you hold. And breathe out, slowly coming back in again. And then let's keep going with that. So just imagine you've got that little soft peach tucked underneath your chin. So you've got to keep hold of that peach. You don't want to squash it. And then let's do the right leg. Let's just do one of those each side. Keep your elbows nice and wide. Don't let them start to draw in towards each other. Last time. One more each way. Sliding the leg along the floor. Reach through your toes. Breathe in. Use your exhale to slide the leg back in. Last time, right leg, slide that heel, reach through your toes, head and shoulders off the mat, and slowly come back down. And then from there, all we're going to do is keep the pelvis in that neutral position, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, so a little bit more challenging now. Palms facing in, make sure your shoulders are on the mat still. Then could you just lift your legs off the floor one at a time, bring your legs to a tabletop position. Strong in those abdomens again. We're just going to tap the left toe down and the right arm goes back. And then the right toe taps down as the left arm goes back. So we're just tapping and tapping. The arm is long and straight and the leg is bent. So the angle behind the knee stays the same all the time. So we're just switching toe taps. Nice big deep breaths. Maybe you want to toe tap for two toe taps for an in breath, toe taps for an out breath. So just hinging from the shoulder joint, from the hip joint. Nothing else changes. Nice big deep breaths. Keep going with that if you can. Keep that length in the arm. Keep your lower back down on the mat all the time. So you may be just starting to feel that a little bit, probably in your hip flexors, maybe in your thighs a little bit there. Let's do two more each side if you can. And last time, then bring your knees in towards your chest, give them a really big hug, and take a little rock there from side to side, just releasing off your lower back into the mat. From here, keep your knees hugging in. Knees and feet still hip width apart, but then just take your hands very lightly on top of your left knee, very lightly, just resting your hands there. Then we're going to stretch your right leg away, lengthen your right leg away, reaching through your toes, keeping the lower back on the floor. Breathe in, keep your elbows nice and wide here. As you breathe out, if you can, just lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Again, keeping that space in between your chin and your chest. Strong in your abdominals here. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to bring the right knee in, stretch the left leg away, and then switch again, left knee in as your right leg stretches away. Let's switch and switch. Just gently tapping the incoming knee with your hands. Put your head and shoulders down on the mat if you need to. So this is your single leg stretch. Nice big deep breath. Remember to breathe into your upper body, keeping the legs hip distance apart, reaching through your toes, extending the legs long out of the hip. So just keep going with that if you can. Nice big deep breath, stretch and stretch. Okay. And let's do 4 more each side if you can. And last set. And again, just bring the knees in, shoulders, your head come down onto the floor, just that little gentle rock. And if you just feel the need to just turn your head from side to side, just releasing off into the back of the neck. From there, now let's just put the feet on the floor again. So we're going to come into our bridge now. So just some nice work for your back, your glutes, your hamstrings and your calves. So heels nice and close to your sit bones, about hand distance away. Neutral posture for your legs, find your alignment. Pelvis still in neutral before we start. Tummy's pulling in, arms light on the mat down by your sides, just to start off with. And then off we go. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tail under, flatten your lower back into the mat, squeeze your glutes. And then slowly peel your spine away from that, lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. Try not to flare the rib cage here. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly coming back down again. So just carry on with that. If that's too much for you, you just carry on with that. But if that is too much, just do a little pelvic tip and tilt. Just tuck the tailbone under, flatten the lower back into the mat, and then arch the lower back away from that. So just a much, much smaller range of movement if you need to. Otherwise, coming all the way up onto your shoulders, Drive your knees gently forwards, push into your feet. That will help keep your alignment and your stability. So next time you come down, we're just going to float the arms up towards the ceiling, fingertips to ceiling, but trying to keep your shoulders wide across your back. And then with the arms just staying where they are, let's come up into our bridge, lifting the hips high. And then breathe in. As you breathe out, coming back down again. And coming up. If you can, just stay here, arms to ceiling, hips lifted. Breathe in as you breathe out. Can you press into your left foot and just bring your right knee over your hip to a tabletop position? And then breathing in, put your right foot back down on the floor. Press into your right foot, squeeze your glute and lift your left foot off the floor. Left leg to tabletop. Put it back down again. Put the arms down by your sides if you need to. If it's too much with your arms overhead. Let's do 2 more each side, only if you can. So this is quite advanced. So if it's not for you, just roll it in and out of your bridge. Keep your hips lifted, keep pressing into the foot that's on the floor, strong in your back, strong in your glutes. So one more last time, just lifting the foot off the floor, knee over the hip, put it back down on the floor. Now put your arms back down by your sides, and on your exhale, slowly release your spine all the way down onto the mat. Let's take a good knee hug there. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Maybe just lift your tail off the floor a little bit just to really open up the lower back. And then put your feet back down on the floor. So we're going to do a bit of side work today. I don't think we did any last week. So lying all the way down. We're going to lie down with our legs long and extended away. So remember, just rest any time you need to, because I'm going from sequence into sequence. So if it becomes too much, just take a break in the middle. So we're going to make sure that we're in a really good alignment here. So your spine is long, head's on your bottom arm, just resting on your bottom bicep. When you look down, make sure that you can see your feet when you look down. So they're hinged very slightly forward from your hips, which will give you a lot more stability. Will also stop any pinching, hopefully, in your lower back as well. You might just want to put your fingertips on the floor for stability. Otherwise, you can just put your hand on your hip or your thigh. Just make sure you've got that space underneath your sideways. So it's almost like you've got some fresh air blowing underneath you sideways there. So we really lift up and stack the hips one on top of the other. So from there, we're going to just lift the top leg away from the floor. Make sure you're really engaged in your core here. All your pelvic floor is lifted nice and high. So your top leg is just lifted at hip height. Just hover your bottom leg a tiny little bit away from the floor. Can you keep your top leg completely still? Then we're going to flex the feet. Breathe in as you breathe out. Just lift the bottom leg up to the top leg. Lower it back down and lift and lower. So small range of movement. Your toes are pointing forward. That's number 3. And 4. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. 5. Have I lost count? 6 and 7 and number 8. That's 8 of those. Lower your bottom leg down. Keep your top leg where it is at hip height. Turn your toes very slightly up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the leg nice and long. Breathe in as you breathe out. Just lift the leg a little bit higher, a few inches up towards the ceiling. Lower it back down just to hip height. Don't let it go all the way to the bottom leg. Lift and lower. And lift. That's number 3. 4. So start to feel that maybe the top side of your thigh. 5. 6. And 7. And 8. Bring the leg halfway down, lift your bottom leg away from the floor, take your heels together, toes wide, so both your legs are lifted off the floor. Breathe in, open the legs, and breathe in, close. Open and close. Heels together, toes wide. 3, 4, both of the legs are moving. 5, 6, and 7, and 8. Can we keep going? Relax your feet, maybe just softly point your toes. Legs hip distance apart, and let's just scissor the legs forwards and backwards now. Nice sweeping movements hip distance apart all the time. Both of the legs are moving, keeping your torso nice and still. Long legs, that length legs out of your hips. So quite a lot of work there we've done on our side. And let's do 4 more each way. And last 2 each way. And then line your legs up in that midline position. Lower your top leg onto your bottom leg. Bend your knees, both of the knees, and bring that top knee forward in front of your bottom leg. So really feel that release around your hips and around your glutes. So let us do that on our other side. So bring yourself up to your seated position, up and over. Just take your time to find a really good alignment. So that is quite important. So we want to make sure we stay safe, particularly with your back, so your lower back. So just lengthen your legs, lengthen your spine, find the space underneath your side waist. If it's not there, push your top hip away towards your feet. Really stack your hips. You can see your feet when you look down, lengthen your neck looking forwards. Again, make sure your core stays engaged all the time, or your pelvic floor is lifted really high. And that will just give you a lot of stability there. So hand on your hip, fingertips on the floor, hand on your thigh, whichever is your preference, but keep your shoulders stacked. So from there, just like we did before with the on our other side, lift the top leg just to hip height, hover your bottom leg off the floor, flex your feet, toes are pointing forwards. Breathe in as you breathe out, lift your bottom leg up and lower it back down. Don't move your top leg. 7 and 6, just the bottom leg up and down. 4, 5, 4, not a big range of movement. 3 and 2 and 1. Lower your bottom leg onto the floor, turn your top toes slightly, very slightly up towards the ceiling. You've got that little bit of external rotation in your top of your leg and your hip. And then breathe in as you breathe out, lift the top leg just a little bit, a few inches higher. Lower your top leg just to hip height. Don't let it rest on the bottom leg. Lift and lower. 6 and 5 and 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lower the leg halfway down and heels together, toes wide. Lift the legs maybe a little bit higher. Breathe in, open the legs and exhale, close. 8, 7 and 6. Both of the legs are moving, bottom legs lifting, top legs lowering, heels coming together. 4, 3 and 2. And last time, keep going if you can. Relax your feet, softly point your toes. Bottom leg hovers, top leg is at hip height. And let's go into our scissors now. Forwards and backwards, nice sweeping movements with the legs. Make it small if you need to. If you feel unstable, remember you can always pop your fingertips on the floor to help with your stability. Lengthen the legs long out of your hips. Keep your upper body relaxed. Don't forget to breathe. And we're going to do 4 more each way. Last 2 each way. And then line your legs up with each other. Top leg lowers all the way down onto your bottom leg. Both legs down, both of the knees bend, and then bring your top knee forward. Just let it rest on the mat in front of your bottom leg. Just feel that release into around your hips and around your glutes. Let's just come up onto our hands and knees again now. So just do a little bit of mobility into the spine and then a little bit more work into your core. So first of all, let's just make sure that we're on our hands and knees again, wrists under shoulders. And again, your option is going to be just to come down onto your forearms. If you're on your forearms, don't allow your chest to drop. Keep lifted and lengthened in your spine, otherwise on your hands and knees. So we're going to just give the legs a little bit to stretch first of all. So from here, let's slide the right leg along the floor and just lift the right leg up so it's in line with your hip, reaching through the toes, and then just flex the foot. Feel the stretch in the back of the leg and then point the toes and flex and point and flex and point. Now, can you just circle your ankle? Look for your circles one way, round and round. Keep your leg lifted, and then circle the leg the other way. So just some mobility around your foot. Put the knee down on the mat, underneath your hip. Let's slide the left leg away, lift it up, in line with your hip. Flex and point. Flex, point. One more last one each way like that. Point the toe and then just circle the ankle again. Just getting that mobility around your ankle joint. That's a really good practice because it's not often we get that mobility around your ankle joint. Same with your wrists. It's really good to circle your wrists too from time to time. Now put your knee back underneath it. Just a little bit more work if you can. Just come with me. Keep your knees on the floor if you need to. If you can, tuck your toes under. If that's uncomfortable for any reason, behind your toes, keep your toes lengthened on the floor. We're just going to do a little knee hold, and it's much easier if you tuck your toes under. Again, make fists of your hands if you need to, and this can be done on your forearms if you need to. Breathe in, pull the abdominals in really strongly. As you breathe out, we're just going to press into the hands and the toes and just hover your knees off the floor. Keep the length from the top of your head to your tail. Nice big deep breaths. Stay here, put your knees down if you need to. Otherwise, we're just going to do a very gentle little forwards and backwards rocking movement, keeping the spine long and keeping the knees just hovering off the floor. If you lift them high, look what happens. We come right out of that neutral alignment. So keeping everything else really still, long, supported and safe. Just very gently. So not weight bearing through your upper body here. You're on your hands and your knees. So strengthening our upper body, using your core. Then from there, just bring your shoulders back over your wrists, drop your knees onto the floor, untuck your toes. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's go into our cat stretch again. So we kept the spine really still. Now we're really going to move it again, just like we did at the beginning. Find that lovely cat stretch, flexing your spine. And as you breathe in, let's tip the sit bones up as we dip the spine. And look forwards, chest forward in your extended cow pose. And let's go again. Let's do 2 more each way. Trying to keep your arms and your legs still. It's only your spine moving, your neck. Last time. Just that nice flowing movement. Finishing with your extension. And then back into tabletop. Let's tuck the toes under, walk your hands to your knees, lift your knees off the floor, walk your hands to your toes, bend your knees as much as you need to, bring your chest towards your thighs, softening into the elbows here, just gently shake your head and nod your head, still strong in your core here, able to spine, and then just straighten your legs a little bit, only if you feel you can, and then on your next exhale, let's very slowly restuck our spine, so drop your tail towards your heels, rebuilding, standing nice and tall at the top. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's go down again. Nice and slowly. Hands on your thighs. Bend your knees if you need to. Otherwise, you'll ragdoll arms. Just letting the weight of your arms, your head, your upper body, and gravity allow you to come down towards the floor. And just get that nice stretch in the legs, the lower back. Let's come up again. Slowly, don't rush. Turn to face you, coming all the way up, standing nice and tall. Let's breathe in, lift your arms up towards the ceiling now. Watch your back. So if you've got back issues, just stay here. Let's look up, squeeze your glutes and just take a little baby back bend there. Maybe just open your arms a little bit wider overhead. And then bring your arms in towards each other. Drop your shoulder blades down into your back pockets. Very slowly release your arms all the way down by your sides. From there, we're just going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Straighten your arms and push your hands down towards the floor. And then again, lift your chest and look up. And maybe you feel you can float your hands away from your hips there. So just trying to open the front of the shoulders and the chest. Nice chest stretch. And then from there, just let your fingers go. Bring your arms forward so they're shoulder height in front of you. Interlace your fingers again. Turn your hands inside inside out. Straighten your arms and push your hands forward. So just like you're trying to pull your shoulder blades wide across your back. Really good upper back stretch. And then slowly just float your arms up towards the ceiling. Breathe in as you back. Just gently take a little side bend over to the right. And breathe in, come back to center, take a little side bend over to the left, just that little bit of a lateral flexion, that stretch down your sideways. And then just let your fingers go, reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling, and very slowly allow your arms to slowly come all the way down by your sides. Just relax your wrists, take a little shoulder roll there, and give your legs a little bit of a shake. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much again, as always, joining me today for this Tuesday lunchtime.